it'd be good to start out today giving a little information about the school district I come from, because that's always nice when you go to conferences to have an idea of where I hail from. Belvedere, just to give you an idea, is about an hour west of O'Hare Airport in Chicago, so it just kind of gives you an idea. It's right next to Rockford, if you're familiar with that. It's a bigger city. We have about 8,300 students, so we are 2 high schools, 2 middle schools, and 6 elementaries that are K-5. So that's about the size of our district. And we are 54% usually free and reduced or low income. So we do have a high percentage of students that come from low income families. We're a farming town at one point, and now we have a large Chrysler plant, a large General Mills plant, so definitely a manufacturing area that the whole Rockford Belvedere area is that way. Just to give you an idea of where we are in our one-to-one progress, because I know a lot of schools in K-12 are doing that as well. We are rolling out one-to-one. This will be our 4th year coming up this fall. So in the fall, we will be 5th grade through 10th grade rolled out. We are using the Acer Chromebooks. We switched to rugged this year because we were spending so much money on cases. So that's a little bit of a difference for our fall. And our 6th through 10th graders will carry home. Our elementary, that's the first time we're moving into our elementary with our 5th grade, so we're leaving them in the building because we're just not sure with the elementary kids how they would treat the Chromebook. So I don't know if that's a permanent move, but right now that's where we're leaving that. So just gives it an idea of kind of where we're at in that. We've always been a G Suite for education school, and then we have been using Canvas as well. So as teachers become one-to-one, they are trained on Canvas, Chromebooks, and Google, and that's what my job is as an instructional coach for technology. I'm located at one of the high schools, and then we have one at each of our middle schools, one at our other high school, and this year, because we're moving to elementary, we hired 2 more instructional coaches in for technology, and they will split our elementaries. So we have instructional coaches, but I think we're going to have 19 this fall overall. So 6 are technology, and the others are within disciplines. So English, social studies, pertaining to that. So they work on the curriculum side. But we're trained very similarly. That's I can't pronounce that word. So that we are still, our focus is always the outcome of the student success and not so focused on the technology in that. So I always think that's important to kind of bring that up in the beginning. So when we focus on professional development for our teachers, I think any of you that do professional development, or if you are a teacher, what you realize right away is it has to be timely. So you can do a great presentation on how to make a Canvas quiz, but if teachers aren't ready for that, if they don't even understand what a learning management system is, it doesn't serve any purpose, right? So they have to have it ready for them when they need it. And I see a lot of you taking pictures. You're welcome to do that, but I also did put the presentation, I did a shortened URL, so it's there as well. I forgot to say that at the beginning. The other thing that we've learned a lot is that they need it 24/7. They need to have it available to them because they may hear it back in August and they're too overwhelmed then, but in November they are ready to make a Canvas quiz. So what did she say about that? How do I go back and do that? So we want to make it as convenient as possible. So that's one of the reasons we created the Canvas PD site that I'm going to demonstrate today that you'll see. The other thing is that we want it to be very functional and accessible to them, and we want to model what we want teachers to do. So when we create our PD site in Canvas, we do use discussions, we use quizzes, we use his pages, we embed Google Docs in there. So we're trying to model the behavior that we're hoping that teachers do the same with their students as they're teaching. So that was a big goal of ours when we built our PD site. The other thing I'm going to talk about today is we do a badging system. So if you're familiar with Canva badges, you can build badges right into the modules there. And so as teachers achieve badges, they get to put those, we have a big badge poster they put on their door, and then the badges are stickers that they earn, and we put those on the poster that's on their door so they can showcase again to other teachers. It also helps really build that camaraderie because it's easy to say, like, hey, there's a 4th grade teacher down the hall that earned that badge. I was kind of trying to do that. I want to go talk to them because they might have some ideas for me or suggestions. So that works really well. And then, again, it's just a sticker, right? A sticker's not very exciting for an adult especially. So we give badges with that. So our teachers that earn badges throughout the semester, we give prizes at the end of first semester and prizes at the end of second semester. A lot of that is swag, so that we've picked up here today. Some of that I'll go back and it'll go into our pile. And so some of it is, again, I'm not saying it's huge exciting, right? If it's just, a blanket or a sweatshirt or a t-shirt. We also do gift cards, so our central office supports that. So like everyone that participated in our badging program got a $10 gift card to Starbucks at the end of first semester. And then our big prize, in the Midwest, there is a Google Summit that is really popular. It actually sells out within like an hour. So that's the prize. So the teacher that earns the most badges gets to go to the conference. Because again, most districts, conferences are tough to go to, right? It's hard to get subs. They're expensive sometimes. There's travel involved. So that becomes a prize as well. So each year we try to work on getting our prizes a little bit better and try and, entice them and kind of create a little bit of competition between the teachers as well when we do that. So I'll showcase that on my site and show you how that works. The other thing, as we do PD, I like the PD site because some teachers like to work individually and they can go and do it when they want and at their convenience. But the other thing is we started doing some after-school programs where we got a group of teachers together that wanted to go through Google certification for level 1 to be a Google certified educator, and we met 12 times. We made it a blended online learning class through Canvas, so if they missed one of the sessions, they could just go through the module and do the makeup work, per se, which again involved discussions in that, and then encourage them to take the test at the end. But they got PDHs, which for us in Illinois stands for Professional Development Hours, so it's whatever you need to get your certification at the state level, so we're able to give them PDHs. So we did not pay them. Sometimes we're able to pay, like in the summer when they come to training, our teachers are paid for doing that. Those that were after school, there was not money for that. So we were able to give them PDHs, which helps for their certification, so that's another plus. So you try to find those things that teachers want or need or rewarding to them, and those are the things that we figured out so far that we could do. The other thing that I think is really important is, like most districts, our district has lots of initiatives going on, right, at the same time. So teachers see this technology thing as like, oh my gosh, I have to learn Canvas? What is that? It's just a whole nother item coming in, and that's overwhelming to them. So we made this diagram of the student, is always the center, and the standard, of course, that goes with that, whether you're in Common Core or whatever your state has adopted. But that's always the focus, right, that these things that are coming in as initiatives never should lose sight of the student academic success as they're going through. But as we train them, we try to follow this model of how can we tie in. We are a SAMR district, if you guys are familiar with that. If you've rolled out one-to-one, usually they use a SAMR model or TPAC model to follow as they roll out one-to-one. So again, that the focus is always on the academics and not so much on the technology. So we try to tie in SAMR. We tie in Danielson, which is our evaluation system again, right? So that's very relative to teachers. They're being evaluated. The 4 C's, and we're moving into personalized learning, so that's kind of where that fits. And then we use scales. So if you're familiar with Marzano, we do competency-based grading as well in our district. And so we need those scales tied in when we train. And a lot of our scales, if you're familiar with Webb's depth of knowledge, they tie in. So all that means is, if you're not familiar with scales, 2.0 level is what I call spit-back knowledge. So it's memorization, right? It's vocabulary. It's a list of something, steps. It's a diagram, And then 3.0 is more applying the concepts, and are they able to create and develop from that point. So that's where the Webb's depth of knowledge comes. This, if you guys want to click on, if our internet is working, I'm hoping, is our site. So that's what I want to spend most of the time on. And I have screenshots, but I'd rather work from here if I can. But it's not showing up over there.
You have to leave the presentation. It happened to me earlier.
Got it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So I have to end here. And then go here. And then how do I maximize in Max? Thank you. I'm a PC user. Okay, there we go. So this is what our page looks like. This I made public so you guys are able to see it. So I know if the link doesn't work right now, you'll be able to get into it later. I'll leave it as a public course. All I did was copy our course out and make this one, just made a new Canvas course out of it and made it public so you can see it. So I'll explain the buttons up here first, and then I'll kind of go into each one individually. Our instructional technology levels, like I said, we're a SAMR district, and what we wanted to do is not make that a separate thing. So we created expectations or kind of guidelines on teachers on what they could do at the substitution level with regard to Canvas and Google. And we did that all the way up through augmentation, modification, and redefinition. Our badge system is what I talked about before, where they earn that, so I'll show you that in a minute. We also use this site, that's just support and resources. So that example I gave of like, yeah, she taught quizzes back in October, but I'm not sure how she did it. Where's that presentation? They could go find it on the support and resources and go through the presentation again if they need that. Or when they're actually working through it, if they forgot something, they can find it there. Our quarterly tech report is what we call our newsletters. So in our position, we are required to put out newsletters several times a year. So we put our newsletters, they usually get sent out by email, but I also house them here so that teachers can always go back and look at those. And then the Google certification is something that we added on this year, what I was telling you about, how we met after school and they went through the modules. So that's all in modules, each of the 12 sessions that we had. We built it there. So we did like I said, a blended learning on that one. We're hoping in the future too to make it, the teachers could do it purely on their own when they're ready, or they could come to the blended part and attend class, because they like both, right? I mean, some teachers prefer to be able to communicate and talk the issues out as they go through, and some prefer to do it on their own, or it's just a time factor. You know, they have daycare and things like that. They can't come after school, so it works better in that respect. All right, so these are what badges look like, some of them. So these are 4 badges that they can use for the instructional technology levels. And I'll show you just, we can go through 1 or 2 just so you can get an idea. And I'm not sure completely how familiar you are with Canvas. You can embed in Google Docs in here. So one of the things I really like is that these are just slides from another presentation, and I've just embedded them here on a page in Canvas. And that way, as I update the presentation, they automatically update here. So if you've never tried embedding Google products into Canvas, it's a really nice feature, and it works well. And then that way, because you have so many different people working on it, I don't always remember where I put it, so it just updates automatically for us. So one of the things that we talk about in here, so this is where if teachers are going through, this is the requirements or kind of expectations at Canvas and Google on where they're supposed to be at. And so to earn the badge, they have to do the things that are required, and then they pick from the bottom slide there, so on the Canvas side, they have to do 3 out of the 5, and on the Google side, they do 4 out of the 8. Things that we would talk about, like if I was training on Canvas quizzes and how to create question banks, if you're familiar with that, you have to label up in the corner of a Canvas quiz, and a lot of times teachers just put like number 1, number 2, number 3. Well, when you're building a question bank, that's really confusing, because if you go back to use that later, you don't know what that question refers to, right? It just has a number by it. So to tie that in to some of our initiatives in our district, I encourage teachers to label it 2.0 and then the unit it's on, or 3.0 and the units it's on, so that they're going back and again, that's tying that initiative in. So when I train on those things, we really try to go back to that model that I showed you and pull in where those items are coming from. A part of Danielson in Domain 3 is the questioning techniques. So we talk about that as well. Are you hitting those 3.0 knowledge that, again, that Webb's depth of knowledge? Are you getting those questions out there? So we work a lot on that. So as we train it, again, it's not just the tool. We really try to focus on the academic aspect of it as well, and improve those skills as they're going along, so that everything isn't seen so differently. And is this working for you guys? Are you able to click through, or is the internet too slow? Okay. So that's our instructional technology levels. The other thing we did with that this year is we held a group after school, and we worked on, I combined them, so when I wrote the forms where they would get the professional development hours that they need, I wrote substitution and augmentation together, and so we met 5 times after school for like an hour, and all it was work time for the student or for the teachers. So they were able to look at the requirements for substitution, the requirements for augmentation, and then they created those things. I was there just as a help. If they didn't know how to do something, I would show them how to do it. And the nice thing that I didn't realize going into it that was phenomenal is that the teachers just fed off each other, right? They got ideas. They were like, oh, what did you do? Let me see that. Show me that. Share that with me. So again, the collaboration that was built in there was actually phenomenal. So I had really thought about just doing it purely digitally and online, and that was actually a really big plus that we got out of that. So that kind of collaboration was really nice. And so again, it goes back to that differentiation for teachers, is that some in that group setting, they worked really well. And one of the teachers I had in there was, she's probably taught 25 years, so technology scared her, right? It was the first time as a one-to-one teacher. She didn't understand it. So for her to have the ability to talk to other people and to get ideas was key. I think if I had done it digitally, she would have never participated. So those kind of things are big pluses that you see as you go through. And I mean, we learn from those, right? So there's more things we'll do this fall to continue that, because that was very successful. All right, here are our badges. So this is what I was talking about, the teachers that earn that. We print these out as stickers. If you want to understand the Canvas part behind it, this is just a table in Canvas, and all we did is upload the images. So if you're familiar with Canva badges, if you've ever built those in a module, you can build it right in there. They have the creator for that, and honestly, most of them are built right from there. So I don't spend a lot of time. I will be the first person to admit, I used to teach web design, and I always told the kids, I know the logic side of it, you guys, the programming, I never know the design side of it. That's not my thing. So I do not spend a lot of time creating badges. And again, there's 5 more people that do the same job as I do in our district, so I by no means have created all these myself. We've had a lot of help doing this. So those are the badges, and sometimes we create them in Google Draw as well and upload the image on that. So you can click on any of those badges and see what you have to do to earn that, what are the requirements. One thing I like to point out too is that we kind of go categories here. You'll see a lot of them that are tools, right? So you'll see Quizlet and Edpuzzle and Powtoon and Kahoot and those things that teachers use every day in their classroom. So those are really easy badges for them to earn because they do it every day. They're doing it already. So for them to submit something to us to show that is a simple process for them. The other categories we have up there, you'll see, we want to encourage teacher collaboration. So we have PLN, a personalized learning network. Are they helping to create that? And what are they doing to get themselves outside of our district and learn from others? So we try to encourage that. And the same thing with our Showcase Classroom and our Teacher Spotlight. Like I said, we're rolling out one-to-one, so we definitely have we had 7th grade teachers that were language arts teachers that were already in one-to-one, and the 8th grade teachers knew it was coming this fall. So they would say, can I go into so-and-so's classroom and see what they're doing? Because I don't really understand how this works. So if they were willing to open up their classroom and allow other teachers in, they earned a badge for it. So again, we want to encourage that as much as possible. And then the Tech Spotlight is similar. I told you that we have newsletters that we create. Sometimes our building principals have newsletters. So if they were showcased in any kind of newsletter, whether it be within our district or maybe an organization that they're part of, something to do with their teaching, they earned a badge for it as well. Because we wanted to encourage that. So it's not just the tech tools, we wanted to encourage that collaboration as a part of it. Because we're a Google school, you'll definitely see a lot of Google ones in there. And then we have digital citizenship, which again, state requirement for us. So are they pushing that? And then the one at the top is just clean drive. That's a very simple teacher fact that, as you all know, students are not good about naming things on their files. They're not good about organizing stuff in their Google Drive. And so if we could get teachers to encourage students to create folders for their different classes, if they could even encourage them in the fall to, if I'm a sophomore now, take everything that I did as a freshman and shove it into a folder because I don't need it anymore. So my drive is clean to start with for this school year. They earn badges for that, for encouraging their kids to do that and having their, taking 5 minutes at the end of the hour and having kids, okay, clean up your drive, right? Get everything organized. If you have a bunch of untitled documents in there, delete them and get rid of them, that kind of thing. So some of them are very practical, and then some of them are more trying to challenge teachers and encourage them. A couple I wanted to point out. This is a little bit outdated because it's not Google Apps for Education anymore, it's G Suite, but we didn't change that from last fall. What you'll notice is these all dump into modules. So if you go to the module there and you go to the badge requirement, it's going to tell you what you have to do to earn the badge. And sometimes the teachers are emailing us evidence. The one thing that we really wanted to focus on that I think we need to do a better job on is that we want the teachers to be using the tools and doing that. We don't want them to be spending their time showing us evidence that they're doing that, right? That's a waste of their time. So we try to make it as easy as possible. Like for the Google Drive, we ask the teachers to take their phone out and go through the back row of their classroom and videotape the kids' screens and send us the video. Should be that simple. And we can see if kids' drives are cleaned up. And if they can do that, or have us come in, I can walk into a classroom and walk around really quick and go, yep, that's good. Those kids have their drive clean. So we want to spend very little time on evidence And we want them to, utilize the badges and encourage them to kind of learn from that. So that's an example of one. The Canvas badges, if you've ever created those, how many have ever done badges in Canvas? Okay, so once you understand it, it's easy to do, but when I went through and I trained teachers on it, I created the module on how to do it. So for this badge, they're literally just walking themselves through the module on how to create a badge and using that. And then they're creating badges for their classroom. And I think they have to do like 3 or 5 to get the badge themselves. But that's another way of doing it, is just having them walk through and understand how to do it. So sometimes we use quizzes, like I think the Google Apps for Education, they take a quiz and it grades it automatically, so they get their feedback right away and they earn their badge if they can do that. Some of them are discussions, like we have one that's called the Ideas Central, and we want teachers to contribute some of the things that they've done so other teachers can learn from that. So on this one, they're going to a Google Sheet and they're entering information like, hey, I use Powtoon for this, or I use Quizlet for this, and they gave an example of how they did that. So again, that is just a Google Sheet that they're actually contributing to, or a discussion in Canvas that they can participate in and share that information. So again, we're trying to model those tools within Canvas as we go through and do this, so that they understand how it could be utilized in their classroom as well. No, did I just get logged out?
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
As you're giving out the badges, have you group badges together for micro-credentials?
We don't do micro-credentialing, so,
Could
yeah.
you see where it could lead to micro-credentialing?
Yes. Yeah, that's kind of where our idea came from, because as we went to different conferences, we heard more and more about that. And we like the idea of just, it's hard to get sometimes a teacher motivated to do something different. So how do you do that? By rewarding them, and that, and trying to encourage them to do that. Because some of our middle school teams especially are very competitive within themselves, and so they're trying to earn more badges in that. So, yes.
So do you track at the district, at your level, all the teachers and the badges they've completed? Like, you give them stickers, they put them on the posters on the doors, but how do you know what they've earned?
We have a Google spreadsheet. Yep.
How many teachers?
I mean, we're not fully rolled out in one-to-one, so right now, 50, but it's going to grow as we get larger and larger in that. So that's why, again, we try to put points on them and do, that's what I was saying with the evidence part, so that they can do the quiz, the discussion that automatically can come up, and that we don't have to spend as much time doing that. So.
Is there a way that you could organize it in Canvas, like you click on the person's profile and you can see their badges? Is that possible?
We have looked into that. As far as I know, no. Because I know you can go to, oh, sorry. She asked if there's a way that you could click on the person's profile in Canvas and see the badges that they've earned. And as far as I know, the answer is no to that, but someone might know differently than I.
Badger integrates with
Right.
So within the course, you can see what badges each person has earned, but that would be from course to course.
Is there a way to see them overall?
If you did it as a portfolio, and you had every teacher create a portfolio and make the portfolio public, then they could do that. Or the teachers would create a Badger account, have the link to their own Badger profile, and that link would take them to show you all the badges they've completed.
Yes.
That's still more work.
Yep. Yeah, and we have looked into some of that, and you're right. I mean, that's one of the things, like I said, we're just sort of we've done it for a couple of years now, and so we haven't run into a huge problem with that yet, but that is something that we've tried different ways. Was there another question over here?
If you're using Canva badges under the profile, if you enable it at the district level, I think, there's My Badges, and it shows all of the badges that you award.
Do other people see it, though? I thought we looked into that, and you could see your own.
See your own, but you can't, and I can see theirs as the administrator,
Right,
but they can't see each other.
Right.
That is the problem.
yeah. So the question is, you can turn something on in admin, which we had looked into. So under your profile, you can see the badges that you've earned, but if I was in a class with other people, I wouldn't be able to click on them and see what badges they have earned. So that's why we kind of went to the posters, because it was just very visual and in the buildings on that. So, but you're exactly right. That is something that we have looked into and haven't really come up with a solution on yet.
And do you find the posters as being, the teachers enjoy getting that? Like that's a big.
Yeah, she asked if the teachers enjoy having the posters. So this has been interesting to me because I came from a high school. So at high school level, they're fine. In middle school, they're fine putting them up on their door and letting everyone see it. Our elementary teachers seem to feel like it's bragging. And some of our pilot teachers 3 years ago are the ones that had the Chromebooks. So they were definitely the minority. A lot of other teachers didn't have access to the technology, so they felt like they were kind of maybe rubbing it in their face. So, yeah, that's been interesting to me. I did not see that coming from the high school perspective, that was what we ran into a little bit. So they'll put it up in their room. They won't necessarily put it on their door. So, and like I said, we were hoping for the door because we feel like it, produces that collaboration and gets people encouraged, like, hey, those are my kids that I had last year and they're doing that, so how can I do that? And go ahead.
I noticed that you had, if you're not a one-to-one teacher, click here. Do you have teachers who are not one-to-one actually going for the badging?
We've only had maybe 1 or 2 take advantage of that. So it's mostly our elementary because they are using Google Classroom. So we roll out Canvas as teachers become one-to-one. And it's not that they can't use Canvas, it's just a lot. It's a lot to set, as you know, Canvas is a lot to set up and do if you're not having access to it on a regular basis. So if they're having to sign up for a computer lab and only getting to go in there like twice a month, that doesn't seem like a great use of their time to set up Canvas. So they use Google Classroom in our elementary for that. Some of our special ed students too have used Google Classroom. Our special ed teachers, they found it a little bit easier. So they've participated in that way as well. I didn't want to leave them out, so that's how we set that up.
How do you think your tracking, you said you had a Google form, I think. How do you think your tracking will change as you get more teachers on board?
Yeah, the question was how it will change as we get more teachers on board. We're going to have to rely, I believe, on Canvas. Like, we're going to have to go back and our evidence is going to have to be more quizzes in that so that we can get the points graded right away, and then we'll be able to link it. So I think there's some Google products like Autocrat that we can use that will be able to link that and create those into the spreadsheet right away. But to be honest, I haven't thought that far ahead. So that'd be my answer now, but yes.
It looks like a lot of your badges are about technology. And have you done any badges related to curricular content knowledge base? For example, teachers in elementary learning more about how to use certain data to group kids in your classroom for RTI and TSS, that kind of thing? Right.
So the question was, have we used, most of our badges are technology related, and have we used it more for the academic sense or what teachers are learning, some of the other initiatives? We have not. I think I mentioned at the beginning, we have 19 instructional coaches in our district for this fall anyway. We are starting to see more and more meetings combined with the tech department and the instructional coaches. So I think some of that will come, but right now, no. Any other questions? Okay, so some of our support and resources, this is where teachers can go to find out some of the information that we may have presented on or presentations that we put together earlier, and so they can come here and they can see those based on, again, the items that are going on in our district at this point. A lot of these, kind of one tip that I would suggest if you are thinking about creating a site, when you go into some of our presentations, we connect a lot to Google or to Canvas help pages so that we don't have to update, right? Because things change so quickly. So a lot of times the videos and things you're going to find are from the Canvas community, are from Google community, and that because it gets updated. So that's always a nice trick to kind of remember and know. If we always go look there first and then create secondly so that we don't have to constantly make that update. And these are our newsletters that we put out. I'll showcase just one here. Kind of a small version, but here's where in the green down there is where we showcased our badges at the end of first semester and how well people were doing at that point, and kind of our contest and who the winners were at that point at the end of first semester and who were prizes. And we also kept track of which badge was earned most often. So one of the things we look at there too is, do we need to update some of our badges if they're not being utilized or they may be too difficult, or we're making the evidence aspect too hard. So then we take a step back and look at that. If no one's really going for it, why is that? And so we back up and we look at that.